Welcome to JBTV, your ultimate destination for exclusive interviews with DJs and professionals shaping the music industry. Today on JBTV, we're sitting down with house music legend Low Steppa, the driving force behind Simma Black. We'll dive deep into his journey, exploring past aliases, his thriving partnership with Defected Records, and how he stayed relevant through the evolving landscape of house music. Discover what fuels his fire and keeps him at the forefront. Don't miss this inside look with one of the scene's standout talents right here on JBTV. Now, I want to start off with track of the week, and the editor's gonna sort us out with a track. When I say the track, he'll put it up with the tune. But I want to say, what are you liking at the moment, or what have you got to show for us this week?
Yeah, I'm going to be really humble and pick my new track that came out today.
And what's that called?
Bulirengi. I think I said that right. Cruise. I've done it with Cruisy. He might tell me that I got that totally wrong, but I think I got it right.
Right.
But yeah, it came out, it's down, Defected.
There you go.
So yeah, nice summer vibes.
And my track of the week is Acid Cool by Piano. Well, it's a piano power mix. I can't remember who it's by, but you'll hear it now. You'll hear it right now, and it's a banger. Anyway, so with that tune, what was your sort of inspiration to creating that tune? Because it's slightly different to what you've created in the past. So
yeah, so me and Cruisy were down at Defected to do a mix, and we just worked on it there in the Defected studios. I mean, that's his sound. He's Spanish, and that's the vibe that he's a master of. So it just made sense to do that. It's our third track together, and the other two were more. Actually, one was quite tribal, one was a bit more UK, and then this one's a full-on Latin vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just good to work with him. He's really good.
And how do you like going from genre to genre? You've been in the house game for years. Nowadays, changing from genre to genre, do you enjoy that more? Changing, like altering your sort of sound a bit and being a bit more like cultural, for example, and doing like different sort of sounds?
For me, I think it's the weather. Like when it's summer and it's Ibiza, that changes what I want to play. And then when it's dark and we're in England, and it's more like, it's more. It goes more basement, and I want to make stuff like with that more UK sound. But then when you get out to like Ibiza, I mean, I'm doing Ushuaia this year for Defected, and then I'm going to want to play like big summer tribal, Latin.
Yeah. Going back to the start, how old were you when you first got into the DJ scene, the house scene? Like, where were you at that sort of stage in time?
I think I first got into. I think when I was 14, I wanted to be a DJ when I started listening.
You knew?
Yeah, it was like I suppose it was like you'd call it hardcore back then. It was like jungle and drum and bass, and I remember recording the Radio One in the Jungle on a cassette downstairs at my parents' house when I was like 14. It was like Nicky Black Market, who's still going. And so I was into that first, but then I got into house when I was like 18. I was listening to like Danny Rampling on Radio 1. He had a show called the Love Groove Dance Party, and that taught me all about house. It was wicked, that show. And that got me into more like the house and the soulful stuff and Defected. Like I started DJing when I was 18. That was the year Defected started, 1999. So it's quite mad that it's both our 25th anniversary this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
How are you celebrating your 25th anniversary?
Hopefully 11 times at Ushuaia for Defected.
That's a big celebration.
Yeah. Well, we got London tomorrow as well, 338.
Moving back.
That's
down.
one of their 25th parties.
Do you enjoy doing the back and forths and the travelling?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Sometimes I'm like I get anxiety about flying and going away. But then when I'm away, like say I go to somewhere like Australia, I get like a bit like, I have moments where I'm like, I don't really want to be away from home. But then when I'm there, I feel like it's still what I should be doing.
Yeah. When you were younger, what was the sort of tune that really like catapulted your career, and how did that tune sort of, you know, push you into being like a full-time DJ?
Oh, I don't know, because I've had a few lifetimes. I've done a few things before I did Low Steppa.
What were you before Low Steppa?
I've played under my real name. I've had different aliases where I've gone out to America and done quite well and stuff. But Low Steppa's my favourite, and that's hopefully what I'll do for good now. And
why did you change from like before and go to Low Steppa? You know, what made you change?
I feel like I just wanted something new, and like the deep house wave was coming through in 2012, and I heard some tunes by I was living in Los Angeles, and I heard some tunes by, well, actually I didn't know who it was by. I heard this record in a club when I was in LA, and I was like, wow, this is absolutely amazing. And it turned out it was Shadow Child String Thing, and I was like, and someone said, oh, this is all kicking off in England. So I actually moved home. I was like, I need a bit of this, and because I kind of wasn't really into what I was doing. I started off as house under my real name, and then I went off on tangents did a bit of all sorts. It was like electro, dubstep, all kinds of bits, and then I came home and I just started this Low Steppa thing, and it's just I was dead inspired by all that. I feel like 2011 and 12, the music was amazing.
Yeah.
Like it was really good, and I just wanted to do all that, mate. And here we are.
Yeah, I mean, you've done a good job of good job. You timed yourself back to England in that era. Was like, for me anyway, I was only probably 12, 15. But my sister, she's of that age where she was listening to that sort of thing, and she was going out to Ibiza and bringing it sort of back to me. And I think that's probably how I've got into the scene myself, just by listening to her tunes. Because my mum and dad, like, one likes rock, one's into whatever, like radio, disco-y stuff, I guess. But like for you, you know, what were your influences when you were younger? Did you have parents that were into house, into like that sort of scene?
No, so my dad was actually in some rock bands when I was a kid. Like he toured the world as well. Like he plays keyboards, my dad, and so I grew up around that kind of music.
Yeah.
You know, rock and all sorts. Like my parents were always listening to Steely Dan, and but I was really into Prince as a kid, and like some of his stuff leans a bit more towards what I do now, if you know what I mean, like sort of like his tracks like Uptown or Controversy, and yeah, and I was actually really into Michael Jackson as well when I was a kid, and like his first album was had a bit of sort of disco influences, didn't it? So yeah, man. But I've always listened to everything, really.
Do you ever get into the studio after listening to sort of tunes outside of house, and are they the influence that you've used to sort of?
I do sometimes realise that stuff I listened to when I was a kid, sort of without knowing it, does influence what I do now without even knowing it. I mean, like Prodigy's first album, The Experience, I was massively into that, and even though that's like, what would you call it really? I don't know, rave, hardcore, hard dance, I don't even know.
Drum and bass.
Yeah, but I can tell like that's influenced a lot of stuff that I've done without even knowing it. But I was really into Jamiroquai as well, and that's like that's obviously got a lot of soul to it. So
yeah, Space Cowboy.
Yeah, still play that sometimes.
Playing it tonight?
Who knows?
Who knows? when you come into this sort of setting, and you know you've got your USB with however many thousand tracks that you've got, how do you sort of compile it and be like, this is the sort of, you know, vibe I'm going for? Do you skim through all your playlists? And
do you know, it's mad when you do long sets or all night long, because I do try and make loads of playlists of like stuff for early on, later on, but for me it all goes out the window. Whenever I've tried to plan any set, it never, my mind just tells you what to play in the moment. Do you know what I mean? I can't stick to.
When you're scrolling through, what do you see first? Do you see the title or do you see the record?
It's hard to say really. It's quite difficult on Record Box. From back in the day, you'd know your vinyl covers and you'd be pulling records out. But now you can get so lost because you're just looking at a list, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes I try and label stuff like when it's new, like try and put like what kind of vibe it is. But like, I don't know.
And then you're going into a massive hole of just like making it too niche sometimes. You
do miss a lot of tunes. I do anyway. I miss there's certain tunes like tonight that earlier on today, like some new records, I'm like, oh, I've got to play this tonight. But then a lot of time tomorrow I'll be like, oh, I totally forgot about it. Really wanted to play that and I've just missed it.
And talking of labels, obviously Simma Black, how's that going for you?
Yeah, wicked. We've just been planning this year. Got some wicked new tunes. I've done a couple of new bits for it. And it's ideal really because that's where I kind of place my underground stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's so, and then I can do like records like I had out today on Defected, that's that different vibe. So I'd say Simma Black is more like the proper OG Low Steppa.
And what year did you make that?
I think it started in 2012 or 13, yeah.
And for people like wanting to create a label, for example, is it easy? Or, you know, how difficult is it to create a label and have like this established business, I guess?
I mean, it's pretty easy to set up a label, but it's more you need your fan base, don't you? But for me, I've always had my own labels because I don't like that thing where you've got kids who make nice tunes and they're like, oh, I want to be on certain labels, like you might want to be on Hot Creators or something, but they might not get back to you or they might say, oh, it's not right. And then like kids are going to be like, oh, you know, like, oh, put you on a downer. I've always liked having your own label because you've got no one to tell you that it's not right. Because you might make a great tune, but it might not be right for these labels. So release it yourself. And you've got Bandcamp now. I mean, you could set that up on the night and put it up for sale. Do you know what I mean?
What's for people that are sort of DJing, producing their tunes at the moment and might see Simma Black and want to sort of send you an email, you know, what are you looking for in tunes, you know, for you to have them as on the label?
I guess you do want something that fits that vibe. So if you listen to a load of tunes on a label, you should kind of grasp what's right, because we still get tracks sent that we're like, why would you send that to us? Have you listened to what we release? So I don't know, but I'd say just make sure you kind of know. There's no point sending something if it's blatantly not right for a label.
How many sort of tracks would you go through in a week? Like how many tunes do you listen to just for Simma Black where you're like yes, no, or do you have someone else doing that?
There's a few of us that all listen and we all like to agree on something. Everyone's got to like it, which is the best way really.
Yeah.
But we get sent loads. I mean, there's so many people making music now. Like every year there's more and more people, isn't there? There's loads more courses now that you can do. Like I suppose back in the day not many people actually produced really. But now it's like DJing, everything I suppose gets a bit easier with technology and it's cheaper to do. You just need your laptop now and some software and you can make music. Well, when I started, I remember I had this Akai thing that was like this big box. Do you know what I mean? And you needed all that kind of stuff, and it was just.
How much did that cost you when you first started?
I think that was about £2,000 I paid for that.
Save up yourself?
Yeah. And I used a really old Apple Mac that actually had a floppy disk drive in the front, and you had to load all your samples on the actual old disk. You've probably never even seen these discs that I'm on about.
We'll get the editor to pop them up so we'll see it. He's looking at us like, oh, fucking hell, not another edit. What's been the most rewarding aspect for you for Simma Black? You know, as a solo sort of enterprise.
I suppose just having a consistent following with the label Simma. But for me personally as a DJ, I think it's nights like tonight with the tickets and just knowing that it's full and it's just a really great feeling. You know, having a venue packed full of, like I think these are probably my favourite shows. Like we did one at Lab 11 recently and it's just, you know that everyone's there for just to enjoy that music.
Did you ever have nights where, you know, your tickets haven't done so well and you've sort of questioned, like, you as a DJ, like, oh, am I doing the right thing, or am I on the right path or the right track?
I suppose back in the day, yeah, but not recently. But if that did happen, it would be like, I'm not going to lie, I'd be pretty upset, and I'd be like, yeah, I don't know what to do here.
You'd have to find a new sound, go under a new alias.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, like, keeping on top of things. I mean, there's so many people doing this now, but I suppose I feel lucky that I've built something I feel quite solid, and a lot of people come to all the shows, and yeah, I mean, I think people have got, like, flown from different countries for tonight, and it's just a good feeling.
How do you think that you sort of stay relevant in, like, today's society? Because as you said, you know, there's so many DJs coming and going. How do you think you keeping on that top form? You know, how do you do it?
I think because you've got to keep putting music out, and I suppose people have got to like that music as well. And I think it's because I'm a DJ first as well, so I think there's a difference. You get people that maybe they're DJ after they've made tracks, but I started off playing, you know, bars, like 5 hours long in a bar where there was no dance floor. Like, you had to sort of keep people happy, and you know, it's pretty hard back in the day. You'd have people going, "Oh, you got anything good, or got any R&B, or
any lyrics in it?"
Yeah, like so I think that really was where, you know, I learned to DJ and to entertain people.
Going from, you know, you've sold a hefty amount tonight, and you're touring to America soon, aren't you? You're going to Miami for a night, and then you're coming back. You know, how's that sort of keeping on top with production and then traveling the world? How do you sort of keep that balance? You know, you were saying to me off camera, you're like, I need to lose this amount. But how do you keep on top of everything else as well, aside from DJing?
No, it's really hard, because then you're tired then on a Sunday and a Monday, and then you don't really want to go in the studio, or your ears are tired. And I've got a daughter as well who's 10, so I'm like balancing. Like, it is really difficult, but at the same time, I never want to moan about it. I mean, it's amazing, really. But the summer, I mean, this summer's going to be crazy. And then I think, wow, I think every weekend's pretty much full all summer, and then I've got to think, shit, I need to see my daughter too. Like, it's really difficult. And then like Defected's on Tuesdays this year, so that means a lot of the time I'll be gone on in the week too. And yeah, it's gonna be busy, but you've got to make the most of it.
Do you ever put, like, one of your tunes on in the car with your daughter, for example, and just be like, oh, this is a good tune, and see what she thinks?
I'll make her listen to it.
Yeah, force it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what she thinks. She did say the other day that she loves Running, my tune with Kelly Lee. She loves that. But I try and show her loads of music, not just house. I play her all sorts of music. I've tried to teach her. Like the other day, she asked me to put a David Bowie tune on. She loves, like, I just try and educate her really with all music.
Can you share a standout a moment from when you were playing live in you know, whatever venue that you were in?
Oh God, that's a question. I don't know. You got me there. Like, I don't know. That's the trouble. Everything
like
can.
First headline in a festival, or
to be honest, it's this. I mean, this is a good point actually. I remember I remember years ago I played Global Gathering Festival, which doesn't happen anymore, but it was like the Midlands Festival run. It was like God's Kitchen. And I remember getting a gig there, and I was over the moon, and I played first in Roger Sanchez's arena, and there was no one there. Like, I guess people, they start coming into the festival, and I'm there DJing. I basically played to no one, but I still loved it. Like, it was still magical to me. So I think there are things that are just amazing at the time, and you know what I mean. And then, like, you look back now, and I'm like, wow. But
do you have any highlights that you think will come up, you know, like this year, for example, and in the coming years, you know? Do you think there's anything that you're really thinking, I'm gonna I've got some stuff that I'm really happy with.
Do you know what? It's a lot of the things that were on my bucket list. I've done. Like, I'm just really happy now, just to be here. Like, a lot of the things I do, like, I always wanted to do the Essential Mix. I've done that. Like, I always wanted to do Creamfields. You know, there were things like Part Life that I wanted to do. You know, going to America. I'm just happy. Like, I'm just really, I guess for the first time, just really satisfied. I'm just happy, and it's a good place to be, I think. You know, I'm not sort of, I guess I'm not looking upwards now, like thinking, oh, I want to be there. Like, I'm really happy with where I am, and I think that's good when you can enjoy where you're at in life, really.
Yeah.
Instead of stressing about trying to get to the next level, or I want to be doing what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? So.
You've mentioned that you're in Ushuaia on every Tuesday. When you first go back to Defected, when was the time period where they sort of got in touch with you, or you got in touch with them? Like, how was that partnership formed?
So I think I don't know how it happened, but I ended up doing a warm-up set for them in Bristol. I guess this was about 2016, and I think Simon Dunmore, I think I recorded it, and I think he could just tell that I knew. Like, Simon always liked it when people know their music, and they're not just about what's going on now. They know, like, a bit of history about it, and I think I impressed him a bit. And then I did another mix that was a bit disco-y that he told me he'd listen to all weekend, and I think he just liked it, and then I just ended up doing more and more for them.
How has that sort of influenced your career? Would you have ever, you know, if you had another label, maybe like a drum and bass label or a garage label, do you think you'd have ever sort of gone on down that sort of side, or did Defected get you at the right moment for you to be like, I'm gonna focus on sort of like a house?
No, I think it would. I think I always wanted to just do house. Yeah, it's what I started off playing as a DJ, and I'm back doing what I feel like I always should have done. So yeah, I don't think I'd have ever really gone off doing anything else. I've had little spells years ago where I've played, you know, I was into like a bit of dubstep and stuff, but it was never really something that I was passionate about. There were just, I suppose, the odd tune that I liked, and it inspired me a bit to do different things, but I've always been a house head, really.
Has there been a moment in your career where you've sort of been like, that's the most successful moment in your career? Even like releasing a tune, or? I
think the Essential Mix, I can remember, that was a really big deal for me, and like me and my mates, we all went to celebrate, and then we rushed back home from Birmingham to get the mix on, and just hearing Pete Tong do the intro about you and talk, it was just magical, man.
Were you all listening?
Yeah, we all went back to listen to it. Yeah, so that was definitely a standout moment.
And on the flip side of that, have you ever had like a setback where you've sort of? I
think, I guess like in the past there have been, like, you do gigs that are just, they're not great, and you just, they're maybe not busy, and you just get a question, aren't you? Like, and then you know, you got social media, so you might see someone else posting the next day and their gig was amazing. Like, yeah, but I mean, hopefully that's all in the past. But I suppose there's always a chance that a gig maybe isn't that great or hasn't been promoted that great. I think one of the key things as well as a DJ is make sure, if you can, like, you know, don't take every gig. Make sure it's something you want to do and something you think will be worth doing and it will be good, and else it's maybe not worth it.
Yeah, I was going to follow on with that. You know, do you have anything to say to sort of the aspiring DJs, and any advice that you can offer? Obviously, you've just said.
I think something that people don't do enough anymore, which I used to do, is I think a lot of kids now, they just message you on Instagram, whereas I used to turn up to and give the DJ a CD with my tunes on. Like, I don't know, say you're into Darius, come here and like give him a USB stick, you know, someone like him, that he'll love that, and you know, he really supports people, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like make the effort to actually.
That would make you stand out.
Yeah, make the effort.
Even if you gave them a disc, they'd be like, "Fucking, I haven't seen one of these in a while," and they would probably go and listen to it.
Or like give him like some kind of card and write on it so he can like look at it later. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I do. Just make more effort. Don't just sit at home and just message someone on Instagram.
What do you see yourself doing in sort of like? Do you see yourself doing the same thing in the next 5 years, next 10 years? You know, where do you see yourself?
I wouldn't mind being a dog walker.
Just that's it.
No, I want to get a dog one day. I've got this new thing now.
Still ain't got one.
Nah, well I can't have one, can I? But I've just got this thing later where I want to get a dog. Anyway, no, hopefully, like as long as my ears hold out, I can keep going. But you have got that's quite a hot topic at the moment, isn't it? You really got to look after your ears. I mean, my ears ring. I've got tinnitus. I mean, it's just one of those things, isn't it?
I was speaking to Waf, and he was saying he was on. So minus 35 makes you on the borderline of a disability of death, and he was on minus 34. And so then he had to have a bit of time out, and now he's back down to sort of minus 16. So he's a lot better, and now he's touring. And
I didn't know it would improve. I thought with ears it's.
So I think if you give them a bit of a rest, then they sort of level out.
I mean, I'm wearing my earplugs like as much as I can these days, which really help. I mean, the ACS ones I use. I mean, they make it. It's quite mad actually. You're in a club and it's dead loud, but in my head it'll be really calm. It's weird actually. It's really, pretty quiet.
Yeah, well,
with
tonight's not going to be quiet because you've seen them cones up there.
No, but with these, it really is.
Yeah.
It's quite mad really, but at the same time, I enjoy it without them because you're connected. When you wear ear protection, you can feel a bit like you're DJing inside.
Yeah, even when you go into events, like I always put mine in, but it's like you are a bit, you're not drowned out, but you know you've got a muffle and you know there's people around you, but you're there sort of focusing in on that, and it's like you've not got that really loud bass in your ears, I guess. It's a good thing and a bad thing. Yeah. Looking back on your journey, what has been sort of the biggest achievement that you think you've had in your career?
I'd say my biggest achievement is still being here doing it. That's one of the hardest things is longevity, I think.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people like everyone might be talking about someone, but I've seen a lot of people that they've been quite hype, and then you're like, I wonder what happened to them. Do you know what I mean? So many people come and go. So I think it's an achievement just to stick around, isn't it?
How do you think you stay relevant as yourself? You know, I'm guessing you've had to tailor to social media now and be a lot more active on there.
Yeah, it's a lot about social media, but I just try not. I don't want to do any gimmicks. For me, my Instagram, it's music, me DJing. I just haven't got that in me to just try too hard with that and just not be me. You know what I mean? It's I find a lot of social media's given a platform more, almost like people trying to be comedians, but but you're a DJ. Do you know what I mean? It's a tough one, but what can you do? That's how it is now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like TikTok, it's like everyone's got they want to hear 5 seconds of a tune, and that decides whether they like it or not. And then people are making records to try and have a moment on TikTok rather than just making a tune that they want to make. So it is quite crazy.
What are your thoughts on sort of, you know, the people today growing up are all listening to these tunes on TikTok for 5 seconds long, and you know the people on TikTok that are uploading are the people that they're sort of listening to and following, and you know this DJ sort of social media that's completely different to how it was. You know, what do you think in that sense of how it's going to be in the future?
I really don't know, but it's no one's fault, because I mean if that's what you've grown up into, I suppose like for how old I am, it's like I've seen it before there was any of that, and now I've seen it with. So I was thinking about this the other day. If you've grown up and that's all you know, like TikTok and that must be quite mad. That's it. That's with smartphones.
It's like you grow up on an iPad, and that's all you've been watching this whole time. So that's like your thing that you go to, and
it is mad. Like with YouTube now, there's nothing to the imagination. There's not really as much magic to anything. You can go and watch anything. I suppose when I was a kid and I'd listen to these tapes from like some rave or something, like you've got all that magic in your head imagining what it's like, whereas there's none of that now. You just go on YouTube, wouldn't you, and look at what it's like at DC10 in Ibiza. Or
I was speaking to Graham Park, and I was saying to him, I was looking, trying to find videos of the Hacienda, and realistically there's not much going on. You can't see anything. So I asked him, paint me a picture and describe how it was. And so I was, seeing how it was when he was describing it, and it was like, I wish that could be it all the time, because
it's a funny one. I mean, I'm on the fence with everyone filming at gigs, because it's good for you as a DJ as well. But at the same time, I remember like my first trip to Ibiza, there's no videos of it, but I've got all these amazing memories in my head, and I think I'd rather have them than have, because I'd never go back and look at videos anyway that I take.
No, you don't.
So I think it is. It'd be good to have more events maybe where there aren't any phones.
Just no phone.
Yeah, because
sticker on the camera.
Yeah, because apparently as soon as you start filming, you take yourself out of the moment. So,
and then it takes you a bit to get yourself back in it as well. What are your biggest things that piss you off in the rave?
Sweaty handshakes.
Sweaty handshakes.
Yeah.
It's too cold down here to have a sweaty handshake. Freezing.
It won't be later.
No, it won't. It'll be sweaty. It'll be dripping from the wall. Anything else? Mine's when they put the flashlight on the camera and you're just in front and they're shining it above your head. You'll turn around like, oh, it's bright.
I think it is mad. I've done gigs before and there's that many phones, and you're thinking, and in my head I'm thinking I'm just DJing. I don't know what you like. I don't know.
Would you class yourself as a celebrity?
Nah, not at all. Just a DJ, mate.
Just because you're on in about, well, the night starts very shortly. Have you got anything else just as a wrap up of what you'd like to say to your audience? Have you got anything to promote? Obviously, your new tune's out today.
Yeah, new tune's out today, Defected. I just want to say thank you to everyone. I mean, it's just buzzing, in it, that people buy a ticket and come and have a party. And hope it carries on.
How long do you think it'll go on for, just as a guess?
What, for me, in general? Till I drop dead.
Till I drop dead.
We'll see, but who knows when that is.
And where can listeners just find more information about you, any upcoming gigs? Is there anything?
Instagram, mainly, I'd say, is probably the best, yeah. And obviously my music, Spotify, Beatport, Apple.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right, wicked. Well, thank you very much.
No, thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. That was another JBTV episode. I really appreciate your time. Could you like, comment and subscribe? That would be mint. And thank you very much.